Interest rates and measures of return. Part 1. Required rate versus discount rate versus opportunity cost. Over the next 6 videos, we'll work through the essentials of interest rates and measures of return, from required rates and risk premia all the way through to gross, net, and leveraged returns. Imagine you're a portfolio manager at a mid-sized pension fund, staring at two options on your screen: a corporate bond offering 7% and a comparable risk infrastructure fund projected to return 8. You need to justify your pick to the board. The board chair asks, "What's our required return?" The actuary wants to know, "What discount rate are you using for the liabilities?" And the CIO warns, "Don't forget the opportunity cost." Three different terms, but here's the punchline. They're all pointing to the exact same number. So what exactly is the required rate of return? The minimum expected return an investor demands to compensate for an investment's risk and time commitment. If the board says we need at least 8% on investments of this risk level, that 8% is the required rate of return. It's their minimum threshold. Now let's define the discount rate, the rate used to convert future cash flows into present value. For a given risk level, it equals the required rate of return. Here's the present value formula. If the infrastructure fund will pay $100 in 1 year and the required return is 8%, we plug in those values. 1 plus 0.08 gives us 1.08 in the denominator. Divide 100 by 1.08 and the present value comes out to $92.59. That 8% discount rate is the same number as the required return. And what about opportunity cost? The return foregone by not choosing the next best alternative investment of comparable risk. If the portfolio manager picks the 7% bond, she gives up the 8% infrastructure fund. That foregone 8% is the opportunity cost, and once again, it's the same benchmark as the required return and the discount rate. So here's the key insight. These three terms are the same concept viewed from three angles: investing, valuation, and economic choice. The investor asks, "What must I earn?" That's the required return. The analyst asks, "What rate discounts these cash flows?" That's the discount rate. And the economist asks, "What do I give up?" That's the opportunity cost. All three arrive at the same rate for the same risk. In formula terms, RREC equals R discount rate equals ROP for the same risk scored, cash flows, and risk level. This brings us to the decision rule. You estimate the expected return, compare it to the required rate, and if the expected return meets or exceeds that required rate, you accept the investment. Notice how the 7% bond falls short of the 8% required return. It doesn't clear the hurdle, so it fails the test. And here's the directional logic that shows up constantly on the exam. As the discount rate rises along the x-axis, present value falls. At 6%, the present value of $100 is $94.34. Raise the rate to 10%, and PV drops to 90.91. Higher required rate, lower value. When you see terms like hurdle rate, minimum acceptable return, discount rate, or opportunity cost in a question, your job is to recognize they're all pointing to the same number for the same risk level. Now let's put your understanding of opportunity cost to the test with a CFA-style exam question. An investor can invest in Project A with an expected return of 9%, or Project B with an expected return of 10%, both of comparable risk. The opportunity cost of choosing Project A is most likely. Option A, 9%. Option B, 10%. Option C, 1%. Now let's think through these. 9% is Project A's own return, not what you're giving up. 1% is just the difference, but opportunity cost isn't a spread. The correct answer is B, 10%, because opportunity cost is the full return foregone on the best alternative of comparable risk. Let's recap. Required return, discount rate, and opportunity cost are three labels for the same benchmark, matched to the same risk level, except when the expected return meets or exceeds the required return. And remember, a higher discount rate means a lower present value. Watch for synonym swaps on the exam because the number doesn't change, only the wording. Next time, we'll break down where that required rate actually comes from, the risk-free rate plus